come now to concentrate on roads. If you look in the locals, whether it be the Star or your Harlow recently, one of the things that everybody's been raising has been the question of roads. I went on the Essex Highways website. This is the Essex Highway website. That happens to be Old Harlow. Each of those dots represents an issue, either an issue with paving or an issue with roads. The red dots are issues around flooding. You can do the same for going over the rest of the town. Now what's also interesting, I've just got to look down, I'm afraid, at the moment. Whoops. Excuse me. No, we're not. Never mind. You also go on to a lot of those dots, and what you will see is if you actually tap on them, the frequent response that comes up is this issue has been investigated, risk assessed and recorded in line with our maintenance strategy. Does not require immediate action at the time. The vast majority would say that. They will be considered for inclusion in future planned works. At this stage, no specific dates or timescales are available for future works at this location. And what's fascinating about that is it gives you no date as to when it's going to be fixed. It also gives you no date as to when the defect was first noted. So you've got no way of knowing whether or not this has been here for 1 month, whether it's been here for 3 months, or whether it's been here for 3 years. You can't tell. You can't tell. You know, their strategy is in no way is it transparent. It also says, which I find slightly insulting, it says, please note, multiple reports of the same incident will not change the status or speed of investigation. So if a number of people go in and they say there's this pothole here, or there's this problem with the curves here, or the whatever, the fact that the number of people who reported on it won't in any way change the speed of investigation. Now, that, as I say, just happens to be Old Harlow. I could scan across the rest of the town. Whoops. I could scan across the rest of the town, and you would see exactly the same as far as, you know, going right way across the rest of the town. I now want to bring you on to the photographs that you will have seen on the, because this relates specifically to issues within my particular ward, which is the top ward. That, the photograph there of the drain and the covers and the total crack covers, that relates to Sharpcroft underpass. That's been like that for months, if not years. People with wheelchairs, etc., use that underpass to try and get across. There's a severe trip hazards on there. There are also, in terms of the other photographs that you will see examples of, let's say there's another one there. There was also another one which should have shown the breakages in the roads, etc. Now, I went on to that particular, went onto the website for that particular incident, and it says, again, defective surface cover. This has been investigated, so you saw the state of it. This has been investigated, risk assessed, and recorded in line with our maintenance structure as not requiring immediate action. But if that didn't require immediate action, I don't know what does require immediate action. And it then goes on, obviously, goes on to say, so it will be picked up, but no specific dates or timescales are going to be used. So moving back to the motion, which I've now displayed. There are hundreds of incidents like this. That happens to be curbs, and that happens to be in the underpass. There's hundreds of incidents of potholes, which are endemic. I mean, yes, this time of the year, because of the rain and the snow or what have you, we get some potholes that will open up again. And I'm not denying that some work hasn't been done.
You have 23 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, so finally then, people would have had the motion. What we're calling upon is, finally we're calling upon the Essex County Councillors to come and meet with us, to meet with Harlow Council officers and members and undertake a joint review of where we're at, and to go on to devise...
Sorry.
and to implement an urgent programme of work. Thank you.
Mark, would you like to speak about that?
Chair, some of you may remember that I spoke on the issues of potholes in residential streets 14 months ago. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing again this time. On that occasion, the councillors opposite defended their Tory colleagues in Essex by saying we were lucky to have Harlow Tory councillors doing such an excellent job for us in Essex, ensuring our roads were properly maintained and prioritising main roads. It's our main roads are now deteriorated to the point of being almost impassable in places. Traffic reduced to a crawl to avoid incurring bills for costly damage. Cyclists taking their lives in their hands as they choose between thumping through a pothole with the danger of being unseated or swerving in front of motor traffic. Given the poor state of the roads, were in then, and that they've got worse since, I'm not sure lucky is the word. Doubtless this time, because the state of the roads is indefensible, they'll try other tactics to avoid Conservative responsibility. They might try to blame the weather, the beast from the east. So let's consider that. Last time we met, Councillor Perrin said recently, I was still learning the job as Deputy Leader. I'm not afraid to admit it. After all, as a teacher, I believe we should all embrace lifelong learning. So let me take this opportunity to spread a little learning to the Tories before they try to blame the weather. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Winter, it comes every year. And with it, there's often cold, frosty weather and possibly snow. It's not winter that causes potholes. It's not preparing for winter that does it. Yes, the freeze-thaw process makes existing cracks and defects worse, but the existing cracks and defects have to be there in the first place. Please don't insult our intelligence by blaming cold weather in winter for the shocking condition of our roads. We all know it's down to underinvestment. Anyway, I don't want to risk repeating myself, so instead I brought with me the words of professional organisations and the voice of residents of Harlow. QuickFit estimate the damage caused to vehicles from potholes over the past year has cost motorists £915 million to repair. That's nationwide. What does it mean in Harlow? Well, let me give you an example. Keeley from Warley Hook said, my partner's facing a huge bill thanks to damage done by hitting potholes at the roundabout where Tisey Road joins Southern Way. He tries to swerve round them, but there's too many to miss them all. And they're so big and so deep, they're all over town. It's rubbish. Councillor Perrin said last time, Harlow gets its fair share when it comes to fixing potholes. I hope that you'll be a little less complacent when addressing Keeley's concerns this year. The Times last month said the number of cyclists killed or seriously injured on Britain's pothole-strewn roads has tripled in a decade, from 22 in 2006 to 77 in 2016. What does this mean for Harlow? Well, Mark from Netswell, a regular cycle rider, said the increasing severity of damage to the surface of roads caused by a lack of maintenance has a catastrophic effect on the users of bicycles. He went on, recently I had an off. It was wet, there was a hole, I went into it, tried to steer out of it. I fell to the curb, got up and looked around to see if anyone was laughing at me. They weren't, so I picked up my bike and rode off. Now look, while we can admire Mark's stoicism, we can also imagine all too clearly what could have happened if instead of falling to the curb, he'd fallen into the road. Last year, another Tory councillor, who I don't name because he can't be here, went even further than Councillor Perrin. He said, Harlow is getting more than its fair share of spending. Come off it, gents. Arguing that Harlow's getting a fair slice of the cake when the cake isn't big enough in the first place simply isn't good enough. I hope the councillors opposite are more understanding of the dangers facing Harlow cyclists this time. Finally, when I met with the private company that Tory-controlled Essex County Council uses to carry out road maintenance, they said, and I quote, Essex do not budget enough money to safely repair all of Harlow's roads. That's worth repeating. Essex do not budget enough money to safely repair all of Harlow's roads. What an admission.
Okay, Mark, we've got 4 seconds.
Now, I know my Labour colleagues will support this motion, but will the councillors opposite please, for once, show some loyalty to the people of the town that's elected you, rather than to your county colleagues. Stop making excuses. Join with us and send Essex a strong, unanimous message. Fix our roads, fix them properly, and fix them without delay.
I'd like to raise a table amendment, if that's possible.
Yes, okay, councillor.
So should we welcome the new councillor?
Yes. Right at the back, I can hardly see you. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. And first of all, let me just say briefly, and I will be brief, how proud I am to be standing here today, not just representing Harlow, not just representing the Labour Party in Harlow, but representing the residents of Little Pardon and Hare Street. In a relatively short period of time, and it has been more than 2 months, by the way, I've been made to feel so welcome, not just by my fellow councillors, but also by my neighbours and my community. And I just want to say publicly, before I get on to my amendment, and I say this publicly in front of the opposition, in front of the public, and in front of the press, but I will work so hard for residents of Little Pardon and Hare Street, and that is something that as a councillor I promise and I pledge. Now the soppy bit's over, the serious bit. My amendment. So further, this council calls upon Councillor Grundy, the Essex County Council portfolio holder, responsible for highways, to come to Harlow, to view our roads, and while here, make himself available, together with Harlow's Essex County councillors, Councillor Hardware, Souter, Garnett and Johnson, to meet the public, district councillors and other concerned bodies for a question and answer session devoted to road maintenance in Harlow. I take this amendment because, as you're aware, I've done a lot of campaigning in Harlow over the last few months, both in my campaign and in others. And the majority of issues that I've spoken to people about have been concerning the Essex County Council. And at the top of the list, the dreaded potholes. I think that the comments that Tony's made about the online Essex County Council system being adequate is absolutely spot on. And I hope that that's taken on board. Now, these issues might seem small in the grand scheme of global politics, but they matter to people and they matter to local communities. Now, unlike Harlow District Council, Essex County Council have raised council taxes. Now, many of my colleagues, I'm sure, will be sceptical that those extra funds from tax revenue will be spent on fixing the roads in Harlow. Probably some of the opposition members are sceptical too. However, I remain eternally optimistic. Thank you, Chair.
I think we now need a seconder for the amendment.
Okay.
It'd probably be best then to ask the mover and seconder of the original motion whether they accept the amendment.
Yeah, please.
And that then becomes the substantive motion on which we now debate.
Apologies, Brian. Process. This is just a vote on the amendment, and then we'll go back to the main motion when we are.
What we're doing now, with the mover and seconder having accepted the amendment, that then becomes the substantive motion. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Making sure Harlow roads are fit for purpose is at the forefront of all councillors' minds in Harlow and across Essex. Local people rely on good roads to get to work, school, and to see their friends and family. Yes, what residents want is action, and tonight I'm going to talk about taking responsibility. All 4 of our local county councillors are working hard to secure additional investment in our local road network. Essex County Council is investing substantial funds into upgrading Harlow's road network. Widening Edinburgh Way, 12 million. Templefields Access Road, 2 million. A414 improvements, a further £4.3 million. In the last financial year, Essex Highways crews repaired more than 6,000 potholes across Essex, of which 600 were repaired in Harlow, as well as resurfacing more than 400 miles of road. Essex, though, have made it very clear that they will continue to respond to the pothole issues in Harlow and across the county. Long-term investment by Essex County Council has proven to be making a difference, although they accept more always needs to be done in local communities. If you look at the latest data from the Department of Transport, which shows our roads and how they are actually improving, you will see a different picture than actually has been painted tonight. And I think there needs to be some balance. Just 2% of the county's A roads now require maintenance, compared to 6% 8 years ago. While the number of B and C roads needing work stands at 2%, that's now down from 8% in the same period. This week, the government also announced additional support for local authorities to deal with pothole repairs. There will be a new £100 million national pot, which will aim to fill 2 million potholes and deal with some of the storm damage. This is on top of the 75 million already given to councils through the Pothole Action Fund, as well as an additional 46 million boost for highways authorities announced just before Christmas. Essex is set to benefit by 2.6 million from the £100 million fund, which will considerably add to the 3 million the County Council already plans to invest from April, specifically in pothole repairs, bringing the total fund at 5.6 million. This money, of course, is timely because it's coupled with the new rapid action crews that Essex are launching across Essex. To be clear about the County Council Capital Programme for road repairs, it covers identified stretches of damaged roads and will eradicate existing potholes along the full length of a road where there are potholes identified in Essex, in Harlow, across local communities. The surfacing will include a mix of treatments, including forced resurfacing of surface dressing, according to the needs of the particular location and type of roads. If there are deep potholes, they're going to get out there and they're going to deal with them. The continued government and county council action is great news and is proof that the concerns of local communities are being listened to. Essex County Council have already had a further 30 crews. They had 20, they've now got 30, it's a 50% increase. Those crews are working both on emergency make-safe fixes and longer-term bigger jobs of permanent repairs across the county. Now, of course, it is still important that we deal with potholes across Harlow and across Essex. The county is putting together an action plan. They've got more money from the government. What I want tonight to be about is responsibility. Essex realise their responsibilities, all councillors here do, irrespective of political colour, and all 4 of our county councillors are aware of the situation. We, of course, will be supporting the motion because I think it makes sense to bring down the Cabinet member for highways, to look at the situation on the ground, and to work not just with the Conservatives, but all councillors, irrespective of their political colour. So that's where we are. I apologise for being the stats man of Essex when it comes to potholes tonight, but I think it's important to also talk about the facts.
Councillor Davenport, please.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I want to focus not so much on the fantastic figures we've just heard, but the method in which the county deals with the public. Because this time, 4 years ago, when I was first standing for the council, I was canvassing in Pennymead. I knocked on the door, and a lady called Leslie Shenstone came to the door and said, yes, I support Labour, but I want you to take up the issue of the cycleway that I take my grandchildren and all my neighbours take their children to school at Cooks Finney School. And I went to look at the cycleway, and it's in a disgraceful condition. No wonder that some of the children had already had accidents and fallen on their faces and scratched their heads and so on. So I took it up with the county, I reported it. I didn't hear anything. I took it up with the county councillor, Mike Danvers. I asked him to look into it. He came back and said, well, he's reported it, but couldn't get any response either. That was 4 years ago. Recently, the same lady, Leslie Shunston, wrote to the county with a 250 signature petition about the state of the same cycleway that's not had any work done on it at all, and has got worse and worse, and received the following reply. It's possible that a repair may be carried out at some point, but only if a bigger programme of works is scheduled in the area. And at the moment, no works are scheduled to take place in the foreseeable future. What confidence can the public have that they're being taken seriously? She then wrote back, she couldn't believe that response. She thought perhaps there'd been a misunderstanding. She sent another letter saying, perhaps you misunderstood. So therefore, I would like to request a walk down the lane with your surveyor to explain how they feel the lane and bars do not need repairing. The response she then got, which is almost more unbelievable, said, unfortunately, it's Essex Highways policy not to undertake accompanied visits, so we will not be able to apply your request. We found historically that when inspectors or engineers are accompanied on visits, they take much longer to undertake, which is inefficient. That's the contempt with which the county treat the public, and I've no wonder they've had enough.
Councillor Stephen Harlow, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just googled what the phrase, what's the point in a county councillor? And the LGA website said, county councillor was primary role is to represent their division and the people who live in it and be a bridge between the county council and the community. So I welcome Councillor Vince's amendment and put on the record that I really look forward to this public meeting with the portfolio holder and the named Tory county councillors. And I just wanted said that if they negate on what we've just heard and don't attend, it is my honest opinion that they are in neglect of the office that they should have an honour of holding. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Downham, please.
Thank you, Chair. Before I start, we'll get into, amongst this debate, one thing I would like to say is, not quite James Taylor, Councillor Ingle, but when it comes to winter, spring, summer, okay? Get into winter, spring, summer, autumn. Is that it? Yes. Right, Chair. Carrying on with the debate. Right. What I would like to know, I'm 100%, and so are UKIP Harlow, against what's going on out there with the state of roads and in favour of them being maintained along with the pavements. But what I would like to know is the people of Harlow deserve a much better service than what's going on out there when it comes to the state of our roads and pavements. They pay for it, they deserve it. Right? And also, why is it the Labour Party, the administrating party, have all sudden brought this up? If I remember rightly, my memory ain't going that bad, but what I'm getting to, didn't they have 3 county councillors last year? So why is it all sudden that, there's a big finger? Yeah, I agree, it needs to be sorted. But shouldn't they have been the voice for the people of Harlow up until last year when they were county councillors? I know it was Tory administrated, but the majority of the people of Harlow voted for county councillors from the administrating party that should have been representing the people of Harlow. We should all stick together on this, but all I want to know is you should have been the voice in the past, not now as well. But why has it took this long to be all of a sudden become the voice of people of Harlow?
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Well, that's ironic, isn't it? Actually, I thought his speech was starting really, really well. But yet again, UKIP simply do not understand the democratic process of this area. The Labour Party were actually in opposition, and if he had bothered to do his research properly, on every budget, the Labour Party put amendments in to provide more money to enable us to try to resolve these issues. And it was the Tory-led administration who voted that down time after time after time. So for him to be hypocritical by saying what we were doing, I can absolutely assure him that when Labour ever gets into power at county, we would sort that problem out. And that is the point that I wanted to come to. Whilst my colleague opposite says he's the stats man, We need to have a reality check. We saw Tony Edwards' pictures, and there's more blobs on that than there are roads, which tells you that we have a serious and significant problem that is affecting the wealth and health, wealth and well-being of people today. And this has not been something that's happened today. This has been going on consistently for years. And it's not about repairing the tarmac, it's actually getting underneath the road to understand what is breaking at those particular areas at the moment over those issues. Harlow Council, under our previous leader, some brave decisions around when the County Council turned off our lights. We made a decision to fund those lights to come back on. Our former leader, when a decision was made to reduce police numbers, which caused concern about crime over it, this administration paid for more community staff. I think the time has actually come to talk about what is the reality and what is the need of Essex County Council, and should we do something more radical by coming together collectively and saying, actually, we can do a better job than you. Because we did it on lights, we did it on police. So if they give us the money, they give us the resources under a Labour leadership, we would sort this problem out, and we would make this place safe to walk, safe to drive, and safe to cycle. The Tories can't, Labour can.
Can I ask if anybody else would like to speak? No? Okay, can I refer back to you, Tony, please?
Can you have the screen back on, please? The reason I want this on is just to, while I'm talking, is just to go and just show more and more of the dots that we've got here in Harlow, because all of these represent different places where we've got it, and it goes right the way across the town. There are thousands and thousands, hundreds and thousands of incidents, issues which need to be addressed. And what this comes from, I would argue, it comes from when the town was first built. We know that in terms of some of the stuff, it was concrete roads, and some of the curbs were laid on top of the concrete roads. And here we are years later, and we've still got those endemic problems which are still there. So yes, Harlow has, like everywhere else, the effects of the winter and the problems to deal with, but we've also got a whole lot of other issues which have never been dealt with properly. And surely in our 70th year, one of the things collectively we need to be going back to the County Council and to the government and saying is, look, we need some investment in this town to actually deal with these really underlying problems, because otherwise all that's going to happen is we're going to be patching over, and with problems repeating year after year after year. And we also need to go with some of these long-standing problems like the one I showed on the underpass, which have been there for months and years. The roundabout, which I believe the little roundabout down the road, which at long last something's going to be done about. It's been there like that. That's been there for about 4 years. We've got the one down the way here. We've got bricks all over it where someone's gone into it. That's been like that for months and has not been addressed. We've got flooding on the roundabout up there. As you go out around where the square used to be. We've got a whole lot of issues in this town which have to be addressed, and they have to be addressed by the County Council. And I welcome what Joel said in terms of let's meet and go to the County Council, but we need to be pointing out to the County Council that, as well as whatever you may say about the amount of money that's been made available, has Harlow had its fair share or Harlow not had its fair share, what we have to be saying is there are specific problems within Harlow because of the way that the town was built which need addressing, and they need addressing now, and they need addressing urgently. So thank you.
Very much, Jenny. Now can we come to the vote? All those in favour, please. Yeah. All those against? No. Any abstentions? No. That's passed, thank you. Okay. Item